Let's be real for a second. Diving into the world of dating apps can feel like, well, a total wild ride. It's this place with so much potential for connection, but man, it is also a breeding ground for some seriously confusing behavior. So in this explainer, we're going to decode those signals so you can swipe smarter, not harder.
This quote from therapist Claudia Delano just hits the nail on the head. The whole design of these apps, the screen that separates us, it can unfortunately empower some really sketchy behavior. It's that anonymity that lets these red flags pop up way more easily than they ever would face-to-face.
And that's the big question, right? How do you stay open to finding someone awesome without getting completely drained by all the drama? Well, this explainer is your guide. We're going to identify these harmful behaviors before they can get to you, helping you swipe with some real confidence. Okay, let's start with the most basic, most fundamental red flags out there, the ones that are rooted in just plain dishonesty. These are the behaviors where what you see is absolutely not what you're going to get. First up, a classic you've definitely heard of, catfishing. Yep, this is the original online deception, where someone literally builds a completely fake identity just to mislead you. It might be a well-known trap, but believe me, people still fall into it every single day. So what does catfishing actually look like on a profile? Well, it can be anything from using pictures that are a decade old or so, or filtered they look like a cartoon, all the way to making up entire careers or lifestyles. The goal is always the same: present a version of themselves that just isn't real. And this right here is why catfishing is so incredibly damaging. As psychologist Sabrina Romanoff explains, the fallout goes way beyond just being disappointed. It can seriously mess with your trust, not just in other people, but in your own gut feelings, making it so much harder to be vulnerable next time. Next up in the deception file is something called monkey branching. Just picture a monkey swinging through the jungle. It never lets go of one branch until it's got a super firm grip on the next one. In dating, this is when someone is still in a relationship, but they're already hitting you up, lining you up as their next move before they've even ended things. It's just a huge sign of disrespect to literally everyone involved. All right, so we've covered outright lies. Now we're going to move into something a little more sinister: manipulation. These are the tactics that aren't just about lying, but about actively trying to control your emotions for their own benefit. And here we have a big one: love bombing. Look, this isn't just someone being really into you. This is an intense, overwhelming flood of affection and talking about the future that happens way, way too fast. I mean, think about it. You've been talking for what, a week? And they're already calling you their soulmate, planning vacations for next summer, and dropping "I love you." It can feel amazing, almost intoxicating. But that speed and that intensity, those are the huge warning signs. And yeah, it might feel incredible in the moment, but love bombing isn't really about genuine connection. It's a strategy. It's all about making you feel so special and so dependent on them that they gain control of the situation. It often comes from a place of deep insecurity, where they don't trust a relationship to develop naturally. Now, for a much more subtle but just as toxic tactic: negging. This is the art of the backhanded compliment. It's a comment that kind of sounds like praise on the surface, but it's actually designed to make you feel a little bit insecure. Here's the textbook example for you. "I like your dress." That's the sweet part, the bait. "It's a little last season, but you pull it off." That's the hook. The whole point is to knock your confidence down a peg so you start trying to win their approval. And let's be crystal clear about this. This is not harmless teasing. It is a form of emotional abuse. Over time, all these little digs can do some serious damage to your self-worth and make you feel like you can never quite measure up. All right, our third category covers behaviors that signal a real, fundamental lack of respect for your time and for your feelings. These are the flags of disinterest, where, believe me, actions speak way louder than words. Okay, this slide breaks down two incredibly frustrating things you'll see out there. On the left, you've got ghosting. The person just vanishes. Poof, gone. On the right, you have breadcrumbing, which honestly can be even more confusing. They don't disappear completely, they just leave you these tiny little crumbs of attention to keep you on the hook, without ever offering a real conversation. Dr. Romanoff's description here is just so perfect. Breadcrumbing puts you on this horrible emotional roller coaster. That random "hey" text you get after a week of total silence? It feels amazing, right? But it's just enough to keep you waiting and hoping for more, and that is such a draining place to be stuck in. And that leads us right to benchwarming. It's a lot like breadcrumbing, but the reason behind it is a bit more specific. You're not their first choice. You are literally on the bench, and they only call you into the game when their main players aren't available. The feeling this creates is the real red flag here. Being benched sends a very clear message: you are not a priority. It's a behavior specifically designed to make you feel consistently undervalued, and when it comes right down to it, unimportant.
Okay, we've talked about deception, manipulation, and disinterest. But knowing the problem is only half the battle, right? Our final section is all about what you can actually do, building a real strategy to protect yourself out there.
So how do you put all this into practice? It really all starts with trusting your gut. You know that little nagging feeling that something's just a bit off? That's your intuition, and you gotta listen to it. It's almost never wrong. Don't let the excitement of a cute new match make you rationalize away obvious warning signs. And please remember, the unmatch and block buttons are your best friends. You are in complete control of your experience. The whole goal here is to protect your peace by setting firm boundaries and swiping with intention.
And at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Navigating the dating world isn't about being paranoid, it's about remembering your own value. Recognizing these red flags isn't being cynical, it's an act of self-respect. It's about saying that you deserve honesty, you deserve genuine interest, and you deserve kindness right from the very beginning. So swipe with your head held high and never ever settle for anything less.